And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome on into the Dragon's Den. My name is Digital Dragon, otherwise known as Luke. And I hope everybody's doing well today. Welcome on in, Timor. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. So today, the stream is going to be another one of those little one-off streams. I was sitting there doing some research and said, what the heck, let me give OpenCentauri a try. I don't really have an issue with my Centauri Carbons, but I am thinking I'm going to go ahead and jailbreak one of mine. I say jailbreak. I'm going to put the OpenCentauri software on one of mine, and that will give me the ability to compare and contrast across the way. And my understanding is I should be able to reverse this and go back to the stock firmware if need be down the road, so that's no issue there. Hey, Foxy Owly, welcome on in. Welcome on in. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well today. I was a couple of minutes late, and I do apologize for that. I had got the stream started. I went downstairs to make myself some coffee because Mrs. Dragon is in downtown Raleigh right now and is not going to be back in time to bring me coffee. And I happened to catch somebody coming up to the front door, and it was Amazon delivering a package. So I got some, these are USB cables. And speaking about USB cable, excuse me, not cables, USB cable connectors that I will use to make USB cable as needed for any of my project builds that we're working on. I did get a package in from KB3D today as well, and that had, I believe it was 5 or 10 meters of, I can't remember what I ordered now, it's 5 or 10 meters of 3DO CAN bus cable. So it's two 20 gauge connectors, two 24 gauge connectors to do CAN bus with. Hey, Pile 3D, how are you doing? Yes, OpenCentauri. Have I tried X1 Plus? I have not done anything to my X1s, and I have now updated the firmware on them finally, which means I don't think I can even do the X1 Plus on it. Hey, Mod Light, how's it going? Welcome on in. But yeah, so I got CAN bus cable in and several XT30 2+2 connectors in, so I can make CAN bus and USB cables now. So if we're doing any big projects, then we'll be able to do stuff. Yeah, I'll have to double check. I know they give you the opportunity to roll it back. So here's the thing. My X1Cs print darn well, okay? And I left that option open for the longest time, and really what I came down to was I'm perfectly happy with the X1C. It ain't broke, so I'm not going to fix it. To me, the X1 Plus software and that type of stuff and the Panda screen and stuff made more sense on a P1S or a P1P, right? It just did. It just makes more sense over there. Because it gets you the nicer screen. Now with the advent of the P2S, that's going to be interesting, especially since they've announced it and then they just came out with the Black Friday deals, and the P1S is on sale, but the P2S is still not available here in the States, partly because of the tariff laws and stuff, and they don't want to announce it, put a price out there, and then it starts going all over the place again. So yeah, it'll be really weird. And yeah, the P2S will make it redundant unless And here's the thing, the P1S and the P1Ps may go on like fire sale on Marketplace and everything else. Or the opposite, you're gonna get people will be like, oh, I've got a P1S and it's worth like $800 now. I'm like, seriously? Because trust me, I've seen people with clapped out Ender, like OG Ender 3s that are asking like $250, $300 for them. And I'm like, are you, seriously? Like at this point, really? That's what you're going to go with? So yeah, we've got a couple things to work on today. Like I said, I've got 4 Centauri Carbons. It would make it really, really easy to grab the first one that we did the lighting upgrade on and brought it up to the lighting spec and say, let's just use that one. But that one's buried a little bit harder to get. So we'll grab number 4, which is right here underneath the Prusa here. We'll grab that one when the time comes. Hey, Eagle the Dragon, how are you doing? Family's doing well. Brother is doing well. His shoulder's healing. He did wake up the other night and had, I'll say, worked his way down in the bed. And when he did, his shoulder kind of did that thing where it rolled back in his socket. That woke him up as soon as that happened. So my brother, so I've had neck surgery. I had a torn labrum in my right shoulder, and then my left shoulder, I had a torn labrum, rotator cuff, and bicep tendon. So I've tried to explain to my brother, here's some things you want to be careful and very careful of, and one of those is sitting in such a way where you're laid back, and then you have to kind of get up, or if you lay down, because your shoulder is going to rotate back with gravity, and that's going to really, really hurt on a shoulder surgery. And apparently he may not have believed me, but now he does. Modlite had a chance to buy a P1S just the other day. Yeah, there's a few people that are trying to sell them already. An Ender 3 is worth about 40 pounds. Yeah, if that. Yeah, and it kills me what people are selling, and they're getting them. I just don't get it. Hey, Pez Liz, how's it going? So yes, we're going to be working on the OpenCentauri. So I'm going to real fast though jump over to the bench side here. We'll be coming and going from this screen a lot once we get the printer up here. But first, we're going to have to do some work on the screen. But I did want to show off some of the latest prints that I'm doing. So this is a print, and believe it or not, this was done on the X1C. This is just Bamboo Lab gray PLA filament, and I believe it's 2 walls, 15% grid. This is a Galactic Armory. What this is this is the Brute from Halo. It is the Brute game controller holder. And so I'll have to go in and clean up the supports off of here so that we can start to get everything put together eventually. But this will be the a game controller that I'm just going to print, give it to one of my friends that does a lot of gaming, or who knows, maybe I'll get a gamepad to work with my PC at some point so I can sit here and game with a gamepad versus a keyboard all the time. Give. So yeah, I'll have to clean this bottom up some, but the all the parts came out really, really nice. So the ones I've printed so far, I think there's one other plate going, and then it'll be the base that it all sits on. This is a 0.16 layer height, and like I said, the prints came out amazing. Dang it. Sorry, I just knocked the USB cable down that I'm going to need. Prints came out amazing. So just gotta peel the supports off, which some of them, you know, the way they were oriented, probably not the best way that they could have been, but I think it limits the overall amount of supports. And I did just take their, I didn't take their straight G code, but I did take their 3MF file and just run it that way. And I didn't see too many things changed past just the layer heights. And some of these are sort of support heavy, so. And I will not play with this because I will probably make myself bleed trying to take off supports like I normally do. So I will stop with these and get these off here so we can get on to the item at hand, which is the OpenCentauri software install on one of the Centauri Carbons. So we'll come over here to the main display. Hey Kegel, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's a 0.16 layer height. All the standard layer or line widths from what I saw. It was just a change in the layer height, which makes things go forever. So here's the OpenCentauri page on GitHub. There's several repositories in here. And really what we're going to do is I'm just going to go to the OpenCentauri repo. And it basically tells you there's a page here. If you open that one up, it's really not laid out. It's really, here's how to install the docs locally. Not going to do that. And their Discord server, I did join the Discord server so I can play along with everybody. And yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're simply going to go into the docs folder. And then we'll come down here to index CMD. I'm sorry, not the docs folder. Come on, Luke. Which one would I do? Why am I just now like losing? Because we don't want to be there. We want to be in which one? Firmware. I think that's the one. Yes. CC firmware. That's not the one. All right, now darn it. I was just doing this over on the other computer, and now I'm confusing myself on where I need to go. Let's come back to OpenCentauri. Okay. Workflows, bind shell docs, DSP serial, stream to serial, Wi-Fi. That is the README. There we go, patched firmware. That's what we need. Okay, so this section describes the installation process and features of OpenCentauri's patched firmware. So this is a firmware patch that opens some things up and then also gets rid of some of the boogering that Elegoo does. And when I say boogering, I just mean that's not a bad thing. That is simply to say that Elegoo, just like some of the other companies out there, Anycubic, Creality, name them, they go in and they hobble the software some. And the reason they do that is to make the customer support easier. As these things are open, like our standard clipper, going in and doing support gets a lot harder because you don't know how people have modified their printer, what software plugins or anything else they've installed. So basically what we're saying is we're diverging now and going down our own path, right? Which is why we'll need the Discord and stuff like that if we have any issues. You got DS for Windows to have a PS4 controller to work for gaming. Okay, cool. Hey, Projects in Dad's Garage, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. So this firmware is based on Elegoo's 1.1.40 firmware, and the patches applied to patch out unwanted behavior and bugs. There is a room that you can go and open up issues for this. And, you know, basically they state it's in a beta state, expect some issues, which I'm fine with. I beta test a lot of things. It's all good. Uh-oh, Pezliz is on a 3-stream streak. Woohoo! Okay, so some of the features of the latest firmware is the ability to SSH into the system using root and OpenCentauri as the password. You can, of course, change that to your heart's content later on. It adds developer features, so you'll get package manager, meaning you can update things and the ability to do certain things. There's a boot logo that's going to be available there, and you can replace it with your own. Exhaust fans no longer automatically turn on during a print. That's one of the things that drives me nuts, is just the abject noise of this printer every time you start a print, because it just goes full bore on the exhaust fan and it's just way loud. Elegoo filaments in Orca Slicer enable the exhaust fan, so you can go in there and specify when it turns on and the speed by changing things in the Elegoo ORED Orca Slicer for the cooling fan or the exhaust fan. The homing position's been set to the front right instead of the front left, which is, I believe, the correct location to do so. So looks like we'll have the ability to change the web UI some, because right now if you go to any of the web UI, you can't see anything really. And I'm not sure if I've got this one set up. I think I do. The ECC. And I guess that's a, no, I don't have that set up. Nope. All right, I have to go find an IP address or see what, where are we at? We're at 123. All right, so what I just want to show you is what our current IP address is. Or what our current web interface is. I'm sorry. You know, standard Elegoo, if you look at the Creality, it's pretty much the same thing. It is a skinned over truncated version of what looks like fluid, or more fluid than mainsail to me from the aesthetic, but could be either or, but it's very much a skinned over and nerfed. Like, you cannot skip an object. You cannot change certain things once the printer is going, right? If the printer is if a print is in progress, you cannot turn the light on or off during a print through the web interface. It just does not work. You have to go to the machine and actually hit the button on the machine. Yeah, it looks a lot more like fluid, really, right? So that's what's going to give us is some more opportunity to address the web UI. The store button in the web UI has been removed, so no going to the Elegoo store. The web UI logo is also updated. It allows you to add Z-offset to the printer while it's idle. The connectivity checks, this is a big one. The web traffic issues have been blocked. I haven't put a sniffer on. I've got 4 of these going. Okay, and word on the street was these things are very talkative and they are constantly pinging back to make sure that they're talking on the network and talking to home, basically. I don't know if they're what they're sending, but they're at least pinging constantly, right? So that slows down everything on your network potentially. So this is going to block that. This is also going to block the over-the-air updates, which means they should not be able to come in and force update you. Like, I don't know, some things have happened with other brands where prints just start in the middle of the night. And they have some G-code commands built in that will allow you to turn on and off the chamber light. Yeah, I've got all those tools. It's more of, do I have the time to really sit down and dig through it? Because I work for a company, and the company gave me equipment that is sitting right over here off screen. And one of the things, you know, I got Meraki on the network. You know, my company is looking at everything running on the network right now anyhow, so it's all good. So we're going to go through and follow these. Now we're on a Windows computer right now, so I'm going to download the Windows software here. Yes, download anyway. I know Google is not going to scan an executable. Thank you. Okay, so once again, the old one, we have the Elegoo thing up here. We've got the Elegoo store button, and we see what we see. We'll see what happens when we're done and after we get this thing set up. No, what I'm saying is the company I work for, if it is sending stuff like that back to places it shouldn't be, they've already got blocks and filters in place for it, is kind of what I'm saying. Is it maybe leaving my house, but it's not making it to home, if that makes sense. So we've got that down. We need to run the executable and do some things there, right? Yep, and follow the instructions. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Where'd it go? So we're going to run this. It's scanning, looking for Centauri Carbons. It says none were found. Please ensure your Centauri Carbon is powered on and connected to the same network. Now here's the thing. All of my Centauri Carbons are on, right? But they're not set up to go through their web stuff. I'm sending files directly to IPs because I have static IP'd my Centauri Carbons. Right? I went into my router and I gave their MAC addresses reserved IP. So they always come up on the same IP. I am sending stuff to them out of Orca Slicer 90% of the time. Every once in a while, if I get a weird artifact, I will open up the Elegoo Slicer, which is like Slicer Next or whatever, and I will do the file, and then I send it via the Elegoo link directly to the IP address. I'm not going through their back-end servers, because that means everything goes back to mainland China and then comes back to me rather than going right through the network. So we're going to enter that IP address manually because we know it, right? 192.168.10.123. And we're going to enable developer mode. Okay, so this disables security feature in the Centauri Carbon. Only enable if you understand the risk. Official updates will be disabled. Official firmware cannot be installed while developer mode is enabled. Which means if I want to go back to the standard Elegoo firmware, I need to run this script, put in the IP address, and then turn off developer mode. And then I can get the over-the-air stuff again. So we're going to enable developer mode, and it's doing that over here onto the box, I'm assuming, via the IP address. Developer mode is enabled. You can now install custom firmware on the Centauri Carbon. Awesome. That's all we needed that for. We're going to go ahead and close it. Okay, so we've now done number one. Checkbox done. Now we're going to insert a FAT32 thumb drive into your PC. I have no idea. I've got a USB thing for an SD card. I've got a 32 gig SD card in here that I know I've used to build firmware and stuff in the past. So I'm going to come back over here and rescue my USB extension cable like we do. And we're going to plug these two in. Scan for threat, sure, why not? We're gonna reformat it anyhow, but sure, let's see if there's a threat on it. Nope, okay, good, done. And then literally I'm going to reformat this. I guess I should bring this over here. We're going to grab this disk and we're going to format it. It needs to be FAT32. 512 meg capacity, sure, okay. Go. It's going to wipe out everything on there. So now we have a FAT32 formatted thumb drive on the PC. So Philinux, I've got 4 Centauri Carbons. One of them was an initial batch 3 that had the, we'll call it the doorbell light next to the camera. And on a stream a few weeks back, we got in a package from Elegoo, which was the new top plate. So we had to take the old top plate off to put a new top, I'll call it the top hat skirt, in that has the new lights, right? So what we're going to do right now is take, I'm going to call it number 4, and we're going to switch the firmware over to the OpenCentauri firmware and just see what the differences are, right? And I'll print with it, play with it, see how it prints compared to everything else. Do I have more functionality? Do I have more freedom of use? Is it more consistent and reliable? I will tell you this, all 4 of them have been great printing so far, right? So we're going to see if this buys us anything or not. It tells us to remove an update.bin file if one is present. It's not going to be present because we just formatted the drive. We need to create an update folder on the thumb drive, and then we're going to download the update.swu from the latest firmware folder over here. So I'm just going to right click that and open it up. And we're going to come down here into the assets and we're going to grab this latest one, which is from last week. Okay, so this is the latest one. We'll click that, download that. Okay, that's downloaded. We'll come back in here and we need to go into our drive and we're going to create a folder called update. And I just made that capital. Does it need to be capital or says not? So just to be on the safe side, rename. We'll change that. Really? You're not going to let me change it? There. Now it's an undercase or a lowercase. We're going to come into the downloads folder. We're going to grab that update SWU. And we're just going to copy that. Come back into our update folder now and paste that into the update folder. Hey, Down Under Maker, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. That was an interesting catch. I didn't see your stream, but I saw your note about the trying to install Trixie. I guess you were having some issues, and it wound up being a cold solder joint. So that's good find. Those are sometimes difficult to locate. Okay, so we created the update folder. We downloaded and copied the update.swu into that folder. Now we're going to eject that thumb drive. So eject. It's currently in use. Fine. We'll close that. Come up here, click. No. Yes. All right. Safe to remove. So we can remove our USB drive. Now we need to open the Centauri Carbon, or on your Centauri Carbon, navigate to the settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that Centauri Carbon up here onto the bench. Excuse me. Sorry about that, folks. Oh. Screw down was loose in a weird way. Yeah. Hey, Waters, how's it going? Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Cobgrow guy, as we're going to refer to them now. He's on the left or the right? Left side, okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull one of these out. And of course, it's one that's got a roll of filament on it, so, you know, a couple of added pounds for the heck of it. Oh, well, there went the USB extension cable again. All right. I do have a power cable here at the bench, so we'll just plug that in. Turn this back on, and we'll come over to this side. So we've got more of a view of our Centauri. I'm going to sit down. Whoops. So Centauri's just doing the Centauri thing. Hey, Ava, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Are you over at the store as well? He has like 3 email addresses from Mrs. Dragon. Okay. So he should be able to reach me at various different methods. Gotcha. So was he in the store when Mrs. Dragon was there, I guess? Okay, so we got something on here. It says current version 1129. The latest version is 1146. So I'm actually on an older version of the firmware. So we're currently on 1129. I'm not going to update it to the latest version just to change the firmware. So what I'm going to do is just cancel that. And we're going to pull the USB stick that came with it. And we're going to put in ours. Okay. And we'll navigate to settings. And real fast, I want to look at the info. Yeah, we have 104 hours and 45 minutes of print time on this already. So that's kind of interesting. Where are we going to? Settings, check for updates. Settings, check for updates. And should be a red dot to the right of check for updates. There is. Click on new version detected. Okay, new version detected. New version detected. Current version 1129. None. Update local firmware. And let me actually see if I can't bring you down here and get rid of some of the glare and let you see what we're seeing on the screen. Right? So it's telling me to update from the local firmware. So we're just going to hit confirm. And it's going to load that off of the drive in the update folder. Oh, I know she hasn't left yet, Waters. That'd be cool if you can make Remurf mod light. It's April 18th and 19th. Yep, and there's the OpenCentauri page. So that lets us know that we're over on the other firmware. Okay, it seems to be taking a little bit. Now it did say, all right, there we go. Elegoo, create the future. Now we should be good to pull the thumb drive because it has rebooted. I'll let it get through and come all the way up and then I'll pull it out. We'll see if it continues to do that mod light. It may just do that the first go around. Or it may be doing it because I had this in. Who knows? We're going to cancel that because we're already on that current firmware. And let's just see. It is still reading the same IP address because I've set that at the router. Let me see if I can't set this down so I can not hold it the whole time. Set it down and then the cable just slowly pulls it. Let's see, that way a little bit, down a little bit. All right, so We are showing our network connection. We do have the ability to turn the light on and off. I do like that it shows the light coming on there, which is kind of cool. Nice little animation. We've got our temperatures going. We can turn the fans on and off. Yep, that's that noisy one. Higher pitched one. Okay. All the files are still there that we've sent over to the printer. Whoops. Print history is still there. All the prepare screens are there. Yeah, so it kept everything there. So that's all good. We can go through and do all of our stuff again. And I'm not sure, but we might want to just to be on the safe side. Now what I want to do is come back here to the full display real fast. And if you remember, we had this page, and this is what it was looking like before. And if I do things like turn the light on, you're seeing that we're not getting an update here. We pause it, start it back up again, we get the screen. And we can tell that it's the screen because I'll turn the light off, light back on, light off, light back on. So it's picking up the, the new thing, but we still see the Elegoo store. We still see the Elegoo moniker up here. So let's refresh. Okay, so we see the OpenCentauri up here at the top. We have our language over here. We lost the button for the Elegoo store. Idle, control, file, print history, import, some temperature stuff. I'm not seeing a change here per se, right? Not seeing a change here. Not sure if I'm supposed to see a change here or not. I would really like to see the ability to make different changes here, especially in the firmware. So, like, as in printer config stuff. Yes, OpenCentauri is a open source community firmware. It's unofficial. So, Comgar guy also has a big 60 from Modix. He never got set up. I will be more than happy to help him set up a Modix big 60. Hey, Keeb Dweeb. Yes, we're working on a Centauri Carbon. What we just did was update the firmware to the OpenCentauri Firmware. Yeah, I mean, that's quite honestly one thing that we can do. What I want to see is what kind of filament I have hanging off the side here. Okay, this is their ASA. It's the deep space that we were using for the, whatchamacallit, the Ender 3NG. So what we'll do is there want to take a quick gander and see if there's something that's not stupid crazy long. You know what? Let me slice something real fast. And like I said, I tend to do things over an Orca slicer, so I'm just going to jump over to the laptop over here and grab Orca slicer. Number 4. EPAX ASA, yep. And we're going to just throw a Orca cube on there. All stock settings. Ooh, hold on. There was a so there is some starting in G code here. All right, and I will do this over on the other side. I think I still have this pulled up. I do. So I'll make this change real fast. Start G code. Number 4. And in G code, we'll grab that. Save that. Yes, okay. Close that. Slice that. I'm going to shut that light off just to be, because it's supposed to turn the light on if I remember right. We're going to print, upload and print, heat bed leveling, test your bed side A, yep and yep. Yep, nothing was on there. And we'll say upload. And away we go. It is completed. Let me, what are we going to do? We're going to do, I can get my mouse to do things. We've got the camera feed up here. We will go ahead and there we go. So you can see what it's doing on the screen. You can see that it's moving around. It's going to come in home in the front right. Haven't done much mining to Centauri yet. Been waiting on someone to give us more access to it. Yeah. So I can tell you right now, every time you start a print on one of these, that rear exhaust fan immediately starts, and that exhaust fan is not started yet. So that's number 1. That's a good thing. Yeah, I'm sending an Orca cube right now. Okay, there's the exhaust fan turning on. Now we are setting the heated bed to 60 and the hot end to 250. It's going to, I believe, go through the purging sequence with the filament. And then start heating the bed up the rest of the way. Okay, Waters. Thank you for the update. Yeah, so far we're not seeing, a lot of anything new here. I wonder if there is like a different URL that we're supposed to go to see like a different interface or whatnot. Oh, nice, Mod Light. Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, I'm hoping that we would see a different interface. Now, we did not install anything like software-wise new to the printer. All we did was install new firmware, and that's not necessarily going to give us a new host or anything, because we installed firmware, not software, on the host side of this printer, if that makes sense. So it's going through the routine. So I will have to keep digging around and see if there are other, because that's the patched firmware. There is a clipper via mainboard replacement. So there is an option here to go ahead and do like a full mainboard replacement and start setting that up. And while this is doing that, for those of you that were not on the previous stream, let me come back out here to the docks, and there's a machine underneath here, and if we open up the index, you'll see kind of the information on the printer. It's 256 millimeter cubed, 320C all metal hot end, 110 degree AC powered heat bed, max power usage, etc. And when we swapped the lights out, we did get down here and played with the wiring over on printer 1, and you would have seen this stuff here. So this is the ribbon cable that comes out to the screen, and then this is the main board here that's processing everything. This is your line in and line out for the bed. So this is your mains coming in and then going out to the bed, and also your mains coming into the power supply down here that runs everything else. So pretty simple. You've got these little standoff bridges that allow your wiring to go up and over your belts. Triple lead screw, single motor. So pretty simple there. So we did the patch firmware under software. What do we have under here? This page contains some miscellaneous notes. This is, I believe, where they're deciphering some things. It runs on top of Tiny Linux, and the light has now come on. So nice. It does turn the light on once it's ready to start going. The fact that you got BL touches, so you don't have much modding at all. All you have to do is add the stealth printer on one. There you go. Yeah, they are very much, this is still a work in progress, right? We're heating up the bed to 100C now, and we're keeping the nozzle at 140 while it's doing that. The hot end in bed uses a pretty standard install of clipper with some extensions for the bed, specifically the HX711S. Direct control for the pressure sensors. Good to know. The DSP used as a clipper. The DSP used as a clipper MCU is running clipper MCU code, but extended modified to run on a DSP. Good to know information as well. Okay, the mainboard host runs a monolithic app that exposes the web UI, camera, API, screen UI, machine configuration, and Clippy transpiled to C++. Okay, so that's the issue, is it's not base Clipper. They've compiled what they wanted, and that's why it's not real easy to just say like, oh, update to mainline Clipper. V091 is the version of Clipper being used. Ooh, wow. And Fluid Pi? Okay, because, wow. Ooh, there's a way of dumping the config. That would be cool. Yeah, and as Clippy is heavily modified, not everything is supported. Modifying clipper.config may lead to a bricked machine. So yeah. Piled, we've got 100 hours of prints on this machine already. We have done some prints on this machine, and yeah, so Modlite, I'm not sure which specific comment, but they are starting to fix the firmware, yes. And they're having to be careful because of the way that they have done the app between the host, I believe, which running in the screen, and that board underneath. They've done a lot, and it's all compiled to C++. So that's why we can't update the firmware and update Clipper the same way, is because it's a monolithic compilation where we're not going in and updating Clipper and Moonraker and Mainsail, you know, Clipper screen and all that. It's been built into a monolithic. So oh yeah, they all look very much like a Bamboo, right? And in fact, for now, I'm going to go ahead and just pull you guys and girls, back up here. We'll give you a full view of the printer. We'll swap this around a little bit. Hey, Tech Cheaper and Clippy, is he going to pop up and say, it looks like you're trying to print a Benchy? That'd be kind of neat. The comment on the Ender 3 and the BL Touch and adding my stealth. Yeah, if it already has the BL Touch, that should be pretty darn easy to do. But once again, because it's one whole monolithic application, you're going to be stuck still using this web interface. Now it's funny because the light is physically on. Like I'm seeing the lights are turned on. Right, we can see light in here, but the light is showing off. And you see how it says modification successful? Oh, you can't. So the light is on, but it was showing that the light icon was not lit, so there's a little bug. Now, if I shut this off, it's now working. I would not be able to do this through the web GUI on the old software. It would tell me it would fail. Like if I wanted to, I should be able to turn the chamber fan on. It would not let me do this through the web GUI previously, before doing this firmware update. You're now a full user of a Linux Mint? Nice. Yeah, I'm using Windows on my streaming rig simply because, honestly, I purpose-built that rig to do nothing but play games on. That's all I was going to do with that one, was play games. It basically had Windows stripped out as much as I could, loaded an antivirus, and put games on it. That was it. That was all it was going to be. And I started streaming, and it was the easiest thing to do, so I started using it as my streaming rig. Now I stream on it more than I game, but I do game occasionally. I just took I've got a couple of micro ATX systems. They're all-in-one systems. They're like quad-core Celerons with like 4 or 8 gig of RAM. Like, and they're old. They're old, like years old. And I just re-imaged one of them with Linux Mint a couple of nights ago. Yeah, so my work computer is a Mac. My personal computer is a Mac. It's an M4 Mac Pro, MacBook Pro. And, you know, I will say I'm fully in the Apple sphere at this point. I still do Linux. I do a lot of Linux still. But I just hate Windows more and more and more. And the simple fact that, you know, the only reason I keep it around is to play games, because you can't do other things. And that has detached. So we will stop this print, if I can figure out where to stop it at. Stop. So that did break free. Not sure why, but I will. Oh yeah, we never did rerun the stuff on this after we changed the firmware, did we? I should probably. Can I move the bed? Please home the access first. Fine. Like, why do I have to home after a print before I can move the bed down? And that's just general. A lot of the printers, the commercial printers, are doing that. I know what it is. It's to keep people from driving nozzles into the bed, but still. Hey, Hutch's Makerspace, how's it going? I'm just going to drop this down and clean it, and then I'll start up a print again, and we'll let it, or not a print, but we'll go through and run the config, because we did update the firmware. It should have kept everything, but let's just be safe, right? Are the motors still on? Yes, they are. I need to turn motors off here. Put a little bit of IPA in there. Oh, that's kind of sizzling. I don't think we're supposed to do those with hot beds, but oh well. We got the dust off that may have been in there. Put that in, and we're going to do this from the menu, right? We're just going to come down here to the configure. It was configure, right? No. Calibration. And I'm just going to do an automatic bed level on A. I'm going to let it do its thing. The M-Series Macs are special. Windows on ARM and Parallels on a Mac. Run software from Windows Roll 2. Good to know. Yeah, the M1 Pro. Yeah, I wanted to get one, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally my old laptop was starting to give out. So I bought a new one, and like I said, it's the what is this thing again? It's a it's the M4 Max with 64 gig of RAM. So, yeah. And my work computer, I think, is an M4 Pro and M4 Max, but not nearly as much RAM. They were being stingy. You got Basil, that is Linux, that can run most games unless they are multiplayer. Okay. Compiled 3D CAD multi-tool is compiled for x86 Windows, but runs on Windows for ARM, luckily too. There you go, nice. Oh yeah, definitely. And a old PC with Linux works. And we're going to take a couple of old laptops that my parents had, and I will clean them up, make sure they're still working, and we're going to put Linux on them and use them around the workshop. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I tell you what, my PC I have upgraded. It's got 128 gig of RAM in it, I think. It's at least got 64. I may have put 128 in it when we did the last round of upgrades to the PC. But with my MacBook having 64 gig, it runs Fusion without blinking. It doesn't care. I've had my PC chug on Fusion where the Mac just burns through it. Hey, Petty Ruxpin, how's it going? It's an Alienware X51 R2 with Windows 8 in your laptop. Has old Windows, but it's Linux. Gotcha. Nice. Hey, I've got, like I said, I've got some old systems, and these were micro ATXs that I built, like I said, years ago, that are way underpowered for anything that you'd use today. But using them as like a kiosk, or like what we're talking about doing in the shop is have them as slicer systems, but ones that reach back to a more powerful system to do all the slicing, right? Oh yeah, on Windows you need 32 gig just to run frickin' Windows these days. I hear you, Petty, about having a long week, that's for sure. Oh, nice down under maker. Well, and 90% of that mod light is the fact that Linux Mint is lightweight. It leaves more of the resources there for the system to use, where Windows is so freaking bloated with everything. Folks, I'm going to put you on mute right quick while I take care of my sinuses. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I think it's just Bang SO mod light. God, I haven't done any of those in a while, have I? Oh, there we go. Oh, there you go, mod light. Yeah, I've been running AMDs for a while, and I think I'm about tapped out on my motherboard for the processor I can go to. And it's a hefty processor. It's a I think 30. What is it? 24 or 36 core? Slide over here and see real fast. Yeah, it's an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12 core, so it's got 24 threads, 64 gig of RAM installed, 12 gig RTX 3060, and then 2 terabytes of storage. Every bit of storage in this particular PC, and it's got more than 2 terabytes, but every bit in this PC is NVMe drives. So, yeah. But I never try and stay on the bleeding edge just because I don't, like, I game, but I don't game as much. And I'm not going for like top tier, like top tier titles. I don't play like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and all of that. I play more MMOs, Star Wars, Guild Wars, used to play World of Warcraft. Was it, what's the Amazon one? New Age or something like that. So, yeah, but so far this gives us a little bit more flexibility, right? Now, I do have to go and look at some of my settings again, because I just blanked them out when I updated the Centauri Carbon firmware, and I know I had done skew compensation on this before, so I'll have to go and run the cauliflower again and redo those numbers. But desktop will have an AMD 5, run the Ryzen 5 7000 with 32 gig, 5 terabit mechanical drive for storage, and 2 1 terabit M2 drives. There you go. Yeah. Well, and I'm starting to get into a lot more CAD work and stuff as well. Just a heads up, Chat did just post the link to my fourth wall store. There is a new hoodie in there. I have it on order. It should be here shortly, and I will be trying it out because, you know, we're heading into the colder season, so I wanted to try out a hoodie, and if I like the weight of this one, great. If not, I think there is a heavier weight one there. And I know Mrs. Dragon asked me to create one that's a zip up. I have not seen piled CAD. We will have to see piled CAD at some point. You can get it on Steam. If you have a link, go ahead and put the link out, Piled. Oh, so that is it on Steam. Quickly create complex models and export as STEP, STL, and DXF. Huh. Well, we might have to take a look at that. $30 is definitely a lot cheaper than Fusion is. Collection of tools to quickly create useful models is either STEP, STL, or DXF for 3D printing, CNC, and laser cutting. All the intuitive interface and streamlined tools create complex parametric models quickly and easily without the complexity of traditional CAD software. There we go. System requirements, 64-bit processor, Windows 10, i3 class, 4 gig of RAM, geez, integrated graphics, DirectX version 11, and 2 gigs of available space. Hey, Modlight, you might try fiddling with that a bit. Nice, Monlight. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, that should be interesting. I'll pull it down and give it a try because yeah, definitely will be worth looking at. Sorry. Are we almost done here? Oh, hey, we're done. Leveling is completed. Okay, so we cleaned the bed. We leveled the bed. Let's try and reprint that cube. Texture build plate, slide A, level, and print. We'll try and get a cube going. That cube was working. It was just, it broke loose from the bed, so. All right, out of coffee. Definitely. You don't trust AWS after the big breach? Oh, yeah. Well, they weren't the only one. AWS went down. Azure went down. AWS was having some issues again this week as well, though they were saying they didn't have issues, but there were lots and lots of reports that, oh no, you are having issues, or at least people using your services were having issues. So, yeah, everyone had DNS issues this week. Exactly. No, the world wouldn't have ended, Pile, but I think some people might have lost their chip for a bit, and you know, it would have been a good time to go out and touch some grass, smell some fresh air, see the light. Yeah, I used to run my own DNS and a whole bunch of other stuff as well, and nowadays it's just like, I got some stuff running through Cloudflare right now, and oh, Piled, if you didn't, like, I've got so many printers in this house running either PLA, this has got ASA in it right now, I've done polycarbonate, TPU, nylon. It's probably why my sinuses are always jacked up. Oh yeah, definitely, my light. There's definitely a lot of people that were down and were losing money, right? Yeah, I'm all crammed in your laundry room. Well, I've got 30 plus printers in the house. They're all not going in the laundry room. Hey, Adam, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Wick Allen, welcome in. So we're just chilling out here. What we've been doing, switch a few real fast, as a few new people have popped in. So we went through, and this is Centauri Carbon number 4. It had about 100 hours of print time on it so far. And this is one of the ones that was printing some of the stuff for the Ender 3 and G. And we just went ahead and installed the OpenCentauri firmware on it. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The OpenCentauri firmware is just a different version of firmware that has unnerfed a few things, right? Am I planning on getting rid of any? Only through sales. And yeah, like my Centauri Carbons, my X1Cs, no, they're my production machines that I use to print things for stuff. But yeah, some of them will be for sale. I have given some away or traded some off at shows and stuff like that. Where was I? So we've installed the OpenCentauri on this, and we're just testing it out to see, you know, does it change the print quality any? Does it, you know, is it any more or less reliable using this firmware? How baked is it, you know? Right now we've realized that, you know, in the start G code, it now turns the light on automatically if it wasn't on. It does not start, so like on our standard Centauri, as soon as you send it a print and it starts to do the prepare sequence, it starts the exhaust fan, and that exhaust fan goes the whole time. And it's just loud, right? Right now that exhaust fan is shut off. When it goes to do the initial heating to purge the nozzle before starting the print, it will kick that fan off, or kick that fan on while it does that, and then it will kick it back off until it's needed. So but yeah, so we're just going to give this a try and see how it goes. I also, when we did the lighting upgrade on my first Centauri Carbon, we got the new surround light top piece. We installed that, and when we installed that, we also went ahead and installed SE3D's like toolhead shroud, which is a little bit lighter than the standard Centauri Carbon, and it gives you access to the tensioning screw without having to disassemble part of the toolhead to get to it, right? Thanks for the lurk, Petty. So I've got other shrouds printed. I think I've got them for 2 more, so I need to print 1 more for the last one to be able to swap that out on all of them. And then I don't plan on really doing a lot of mods. Like I said, these are my production machines. I've got 4 of them, so I was willing to pop one over to here and try it out just to see, you know, does it do anything? Is it worth doing to the other 3, yes or no, at this stage? If it gave me more fully exposed clipper, I would be happy, but what we're seeing, and I'll flip over here, flip over there, and then I'll pop back up down here at the bottom, is it gives us the same UI, right? We see OpenCentauri up here. We get rid of the little web store button click, which I could really care less about because I never go there. But other than that, everything is still the same. And that is because they're still trying to decipher and decode. Okay? The OpenCentauri says that the hot-ended bed uses a pretty standard install of clipper with some extensions for the bed, specifically the HX711 direct control for the pressure sensors. Okay, that is the board at the bottom of the printer. Okay, the DSP is the one that's running on the screen and stuff, and it's got a monolithic application. So it's the web UI, the camera, the API, the screen UI, and so forth. So they've brought that all together and then compiled it all using C++, which means it's all one monolithic binary. There's no way of like just updating Clipper Screen or just updating Moonsail or Moonraker or what have you. If you want to get there right now, you're redoing all the boards in here and you're doing a complete swap over, right? And there is a page down here that's going to be talking about that for Clipper via mainboard replacement. Connect it to Clipper, recognize it. This is basically what they're working on, is getting this to go. What that mainboard will look like, don't know. It doesn't talk about the actual mainboard. I would probably assume with what? 1, 2, 1 for the X, 1 for the Z, any 5 motors. So an SKR Mini, SKR Mini 3, SKR Mini E3 V3 should work fine. An SKR Pico should work fine. Any of those, a Manta M5P should work fine. The big thing is going to be able to get the board in the same position so that it doesn't interfere with any of the belts underneath. If you can get a board in a position to do that, you're swap and go, basically. They do have stuff here for things like printer config, which is a work in progress. You're going to have to work through some of these things. Yeah. So, and you see there's a lot of all the pins to do. Update to hot end MCU prefix once we have a multiple boards added. So that would be, oh, we're putting a toolhead board on here, or we're using the toolhead or whatever, right? There is a toolhead board on here. I have no idea what it's like. I haven't pulled it apart yet, so we'll have to see once that happens. Are you going to box turtle the Centauri? No, not at this point. I would have to do a board swap to get there, because I do not believe, I'll have to check the board, but I do not believe the board has a CAN bus port on it. Yeah. And it is laying down plastic. So you probably could run it over USB. However, the only USB you have is the front USB port. So you'd be doing the same thing that Creality did, which is take over your USB port. So what happens if in your particular use case you don't want anything networked and you're moving things over by SneakerNet, right? Now you've got something plugged in, or you're going to unplug it to plug it in. Yeah, you're adding stuff to the front that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because both the Creality and that USB is right here in the front of the system, basically right in the way. But the center machine, right? Yeah. So here's the layout of the board. I would have to look at the board. It could be very well laid out for mounting wise, other than the USB port right here, which goes out the front face of the machine. You would of course have to swap screens and do all that stuff too if you did a board swap. But it looks like this sits on risers and sits above the belt as it goes across. So, yeah. So you should have plenty of room there to put something else in, and it's nice. They already have a cooling fan there, so as long as you've got it oriented right, you're going to be blowing cold air right over the steppers. So we'll come over here and keep an eye on the print. Wonder if they have another USB on the board that isn't populated. Possibly. I'm curious to see how they. So they said that the MMU3 is coming out in third quarter. Now we've got not the MMU3, their MMU coming out in the third quarter. And now we've seen all the teasers about the Centauri Carbon 2, which has that 4 spools on the right side of the printer, like the 85X, right? With a very similar looking 4-way unit that goes right on the right side of the printer, very much like the 85X, right? And then you get that cone-shaped top hat like some of the old Kitties, which is interesting because you're going to be moving from glass to obviously an acrylic piece, because you're not going to make that out of glass. That would be prohibitively expensive to make and to ship because of the weight, and chances are it's going to get busted. So you'd want to do that in acrylic. But yeah, I don't know. I am hoping that they backport it. If they do not backport that to the main Centauri Carbon line, that's going to annoy everybody that's bought a Centauri Carbon, because they said it's coming out in Q3. And everything about this printer, it's got the poop chute, it's got the filament cutter. That's the little lever you're seeing on the side over here is the filament cutter. So when it's coming over to the right-hand side, every time when it homes, it's actually cutting the filament, right? The filament cutter is built in. So everything's provisioned here for an automated filament changer. I don't know why they went with that solution either, unless, like I said, it looks very much like the 85X. Did they cut a deal license, or just straight up, yeah, I just won't say anything. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that solution. It works darn well, unless you're Evil Diesel. I still love that, Waters, when Evil Diesel was like, I've tried this in 3 printers and it's not grabbing and it's not working. And I took it down there and we slapped it on the 85X and just ran it in. It was that Greengate filament that he said was undersized. And we just walked it down there, slapped it on the side of the 85X because it was there, and fed it in, and it just went whoop. Printed off a print, pulled the spool and took it back to him. I was like, I don't know what your problem is. It prints for us. And yeah, Diesel yesterday. And then these folks, do they have it up here on their... No, where's the... Do they not have the new one, the announcements? Here's Construct 2. There we go. This is beautiful. This one, it's a tank, right? This was recently announced in the last day or two. It can roll through 8 kilograms of material in 24 hours, right? Chamber heater up to 75C. Has the ability for Wi-Fi 2.4, 5 gigahertz, straight up Ethernet, air gap mode, or access point, meaning it acts as an access point to connect to. So think another version of local LAN. A single 4020 radial fan and 4 auxiliary fans. Peak or peck, don't know what the temperature range is for peak or peck. Build volume is 340 by 390 by 400. Active chamber heat 75 max, 50C in 5 minutes, 60C in 10, 70 in 30. That's pretty good. An 800 watt bed and 300 watt PTC heater. Does have filtered exhaust. The tool head is a 100 watt PTC heater that goes up to 340. It can go higher, but you lose power and efficiency trying to do that, right? That was one of the comments. I think it was reprinted, Pete, that asked that question online. Yeah, 1300 watt under full power draw, but once it's up and running, it's 360. Yeah, just all the goodies basically. It's obviously got something like a beacon because it's doing a 900 point bed scanning. So it's got a beautiful touchscreen on it. It's data secure, has thermal runaway protection, gives you RGB to provide the state. It's running duet stuff, so that's pretty good. But yeah, this is the fit and finish look on this right now is gorgeous, and I do believe the overall price does include the cabinet underneath to provide storage and movability, because this is the size of this, you're not going to be moving this very easily. So having it on a cart is going to be a good thing. Yeah. This is, how can I say this? I wish I could justify it. The toolhead is using an LGX Pro, sounds familiar. Bondtech CHT abrasive resistant 0.6 nozzle. So, yeah. And I was hoping that they were going to be at Formnext, because I'd love to see this, and we're going to Formnext, me and Waters are. And they're not going to, it doesn't sound like they'll be at Formnext. It sounds like they're trying to make Smurf with that printer. So, yeah. If you're at Smurf, you know, take all the pictures and send to us. Yeah, this is going to be our first trip to Formnext. Me and Waters had the opportunity to go over. Automated's paying our way so we can support their booth. So I do not have plans to go to Smurf, though I bet that is awesome and fun. All the E3D crew that'll be there are a hoot. Sam Prentice is going to be there definitely as well. Yeah, that'll kill me, Pile, because I'll get over there and I'll be able to see and put hands on the CC2 probably at Formnext as well. And we still don't have any date here in the US because of all the tariffs and stuff. Yeah, E3D will be at Formnext as well. But I don't know, I've never been there, but Formnext is more industry hobnobbing, and all of our rep festivals are, we'll just say, everybody lets their hair down a little bit more there, right? Yeah, I'd love to make it to Smurf, and if I ever do go back, if I ever make it to Smurf, Mrs. Dragon will definitely come for that one. Yeah, Formnext, like I see people at Formnext that, are rolling around in jeans and t-shirts. But yeah, that's normally the suit crowd, right? And the scale, yeah, the scale is the venue is huge. All right, Waters, hopefully you're at home and not just getting ready to leave the store and go home. But take care, Waters. We'll see you again soon. Oh, and I've got to ping Waters and them. The December Maker Meetup at Ecovate 3D. Couple of things. Either we need to change the date, either move it up or move it back, or cancel it outright. I believe it's December 13th right now. But I've got to be up in Virginia. My brother needs help. His wife's going on a trip. He's still dealing with his shoulder surgery, and they have a 2.5, soon to be 3-year-old. So he needs help. Me and Mr. Dragon are going to go up, spend the weekend. So you recommend walking by the bamboo booth at the end of each day because all the cool people meet up there. Good to know. Good to know. I plan on walking by as many booths as I can while I'm not manning the automated booth. I am really, really hoping I can get out there and make some good contacts with some peeps for future stuff. So, but yeah, the potential spam. Yep. Goodbye. Just going to look at the calendar real fast. The next Maker Meetup for November here in Raleigh, North Carolina is Saturday, November 8th. Okay, so we're next weekend. So a week from Saturday is going to be the next Maker Meetup here in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you're in the area, that's going to be over at Ecovate 3D in Raleigh out on Glenwood Avenue. It's a pretty easy format. Store open to store closed normally, or until I just get extremely tired, nobody else is there, and we go ahead and head out. Come on down, hang out, talk about your latest projects, look at something that you're working on. As you all know, the last couple of streams we worked on the electronics for the Optimus P1 Pro. I will be working on that down there. I don't know if I'll be working on it beforehand, but I will be working on that definitely that weekend and trying to get that pushing some plastic. We've got to put, I've got to extend a cable for the toolhead, the CAN bus cable, or just make a whole new dedicated CAN bus cable for it and pull the one that's on it off, which is the one for an SB2209 board. The problem is any of the CAN bus boards that you're going to get are 3 meters long, right? This is a large size printer. It needs to be like a 5-meter cable to be able to run through all the cable chains and stuff. I'm not even sure if the 5-meter cable that came with the beacon probe is truly long enough, because I've got to get some other things back on the printer to be able to run it through the cable chain and make sure it'll fit. we'll figure it out one way or the other, though. The printer itself, though, all the electronics are working. The toolhead and the beacon probe are talking. So it's just a matter of getting everything wired up, which we did. I already wired everything back into the main board. Okay, what is that? That was interesting. Are we? It's not appearing to be air printing, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this came from, but yeah, that was just on the print. But I was just able to like pull it. It was like, I don't know where that came from. It seems to be still printing. We're not air printing that I can tell. We'll let go a little bit more and see if we've got an issue. Not seeing anything weird. But yeah, I will definitely be trying to get around to several booths at the show. Definitely, you know, E3D. If Fadis is there, I'm going to go by and chat with them about a few things. They've been good to me and letting me take part in several beta tests and stuff like that, so that's been very nice. And that includes not just the hot ends, but they've also sent me the Apis 2 extruder. They sent me the DXC extruder that we put on the Creality K1C. That printer has been downstairs. I just don't have enough. I don't have enough power outlets to run everything at the same time in my house because I keep popping 15 amp circuits. So we are in search of workshop space right now so that we can get some of the printers to another location and start doing some other things as well. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, still printing. So yeah, right now I'm going to snooze that ad just because. Yeah, we from what I can see, this is printing pretty decently. We'll let this print finish. And we'll show it off. We got about 20 minutes left. We can chit chat for another 20 minutes, I think. It is, we've been going for about 2 hours. It's about 8 o'clock. Hopefully we'll hear Mrs. Dragon get home shortly. Let me see, where did I put, because I'm pretty sure I brought it up here, or did I not bring it all the way up? I didn't bring it all the way up. There we go. Okay. So, like I said, we got the USB solder-on connector, so we'll be able to make some USB cables as needed now. It's always something that's good to have is, you know, plenty of networking cables and other sundry cable making stuff. So we've got plenty of stuff to make cables. We now have a good deal. This is definitely not just 5 meters. That's probably 10 meters. And I think I got 3 or 4 of the XT30 2+2 connector kits. Five. So we got 5 XT30 2+2 kits, which are pretty nice, pretty simple. They're just the XT30 connector, and those are like gold-plated crimps for the JST connectors. So we'll be able to create our own cables here for some CAN bus stuff coming up. Technically CAN bus, or if we need to, we can make some long cables for things like Nighthawks and do USB. There is a, this is the straight CAN bus cable that I got. It's 4 conductor. There is a version that you can get from 3DO that is, I think it's 8 connector or conductor, that can do CAN bus or USB. Okay, CAN bus or USB. So that'll work well. If you need to do things like, oh, I'm going to put a Nighthawk board on a big, huge printer, then you can go ahead and do that. And what are we going to do? We're going to come back here to the full display. Oh, and I just realized we're making confetti again. So we'll stop that. And we'll have to see what's going on there. Why did we break free? All right, so seems like we broke free again. This part here was printing fine, but I think that that is actually short. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, looking at the top of that, it looks like this didn't complete, that this might be short, which might have been where that string came from. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the top off of this where it was failing. Go throw this away real fast. And up until that point when it started to fail, I mean, it is a sparkle filament, but it was definitely printing pretty well. Now, once again, we did the bed leveling. We did not do input shaping, but looking at this, like I am not seeing, and I'm going to try and get a weird angle on the here, but I am not seeing any ghosting. I'm trying to get that really bad lighting on there. There's no ghosting that I can see on this print on any of the sides. So, and I think we got enough of the threads on both sides that we should be able to see. Oh yeah, the threads are tight. Threads are definitely tight, so we may have to look at flow rate adjustments and stuff like that. Basically, we just threw out the firmware and redid the firmware. Probably ought to go in and tune and adjust some. Like I said, I did take out, I think that does take out my things that I had in my start G code for shrinkage and stuff. So, yeah, that's definitely too tight to screw in there. But so far, I am upbeat about this right now. I'm going to go ahead and continue to play with it. I'm going to try and see and figure out what might be causing the the adhesion issue as to why that is breaking free. I mean, I'm not. I'll double check the slicer. I don't. Oh no, we completely wiped out the slicer settings. I'll have to see if I have any offset set anywhere as to why that may be giving us an issue. But yeah, for now, I will go through and let it do all of the calibration steps again. Let it just full Monty, not just bed leveling, but do everything, the input shaping and all that. And then I'll run through the flow rate and stuff like that and get the flow rate readjusted if need be. Do all that goodness. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the OpenCentauri has not really changed much, right? What it did do was give us got rid of some bugs, right? Got rid of a couple of bugs and give us some quality of life stuff. Now they are working on it. They are peeling back the covers some more. Once again, this is a beta firmware. So they are working through with the community to make sure that this works out well for everybody. I know Geek Girl Katie here in North Carolina is also doing this. I may reach out to her and ask her some questions and what her experience has been on this. But so far, I'm confident that this is going to work out well. Like I said, just going to go through some basic tuning stuff, which it's to be expected anytime you do a firmware or anything like that, especially when you've changed over and changed some of the other settings out in your start and end G codes, right? So we'll go ahead and get that done. We'll come back on Saturday. We may still have this up here, or we may have moved on to something else again. But thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you all being here and hanging out with me tonight. We are going to continue to work on this one, and like I said, I definitely want the ability to bring this back to stock and kind of rock and roll with it from a stock perspective, just simply because this is one of my production machines, right? But every once in a while you got to try something out. If I need to, it's not huge. Maybe one day we crack this thing open and really go full Monty and do a full board swap on it. But quite honestly, it works, right? That's the thing with the Centauri Carbons. That's why I've got 4 of them. It's the most of any one type of printer I own is the Centauri Carbon right now because they work. I was trying to see if this OpenCentauri firmware fixes some of the issues that I was having, which are more quality of life things, not being able to turn the light on if I'm downstairs and starting to print and I got to run upstairs to turn the light on. This does that. The ability to turn the light on and off or just make any modification via the web interface while a print is ongoing. Haven't been able to do that. One of the other things was whether or not I can upload a file while a print's going, right? We haven't been able to do that either in the standard Centauri Carbon firmware. unless it was one of the new things that came out in one of the latest updates that I hadn't installed yet. So there's a few things that this brings. We'll definitely have to keep looking and see, you know, suss this out a bit and continue to play around with this version and see how well it prints and compares to the other three. Maybe we keep it here, maybe we don't. But that's one of the things that we like to do on the channel, is try new things and test out new things. So we're going to see how that goes. Right now, let me see who is up and running. Polymaker, Sid Heresy, looks like he's working on some electronic stuff, getting ready to solder. Miniatures and models over on Art of Mike Disney. Free Heathens up and running. Oh man, Sim. Barnacles, haven't seen him in a while. You know what? Let's go give a Canuck some love. We're going to head over to Free Heathen. Like I said, thank you very much for being here, everybody. Please jump over to Free Heathen. Say hi. Give him some love from the Dragon's Den. If he's not your cup of tea, no worries. Give him 5-10 minutes and bounce out. But thank you, everybody, for being here. And like I said, we'll keep looking at this, and we will give you some feedback based on testing and playing around with this firmware. So thank you all for being here. Have a great night. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and we'll see you all on Saturday morning. Bye now. And if you are watching this over on YouTube and have stuck around to the end, thank you very much. Please be sure to hit that like button. And if you do like the content that you see, be sure to subscribe down there if you're not already subscribed. Click that bell to get notified of future videos. And speaking of future videos or other videos, YouTube's going to be suggesting one right here for you. Have a great day.